Welcome to Verbal Tap, the show that proves fighting is easier from outside the cage. With me, of course, the man whose stature rises above even the tallest of roller coaster height checks, Raph Esparza. Raph, how are you doing tonight?
I'm so drunk.
How are you celebrating Cinco de Mayo?
I'm so drunk.
Just so drunk. I'm drinking a Corona Extra.
That's okay. That's barely not even anything. No, I'm actually not drunk at all. I stayed sober for the podcast.
You stayed sober for the podcast. That's well, first of all, thank you for the dedication.
You're welcome.
Really appreciated. Second of all, how dare you? Isn't this like your Mexican Christmas?
This isn't Mexican Christmas. Although my girlfriend at one point today, while in the Chipotle line, mind you.
I had Chipotle too. That's great. Get the fuck out of here.
No, my girlfriend at one point looks at me, and I had just randomly said I wanted to go see Iron Man. So on a whim, we went, we did it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was fun. And she looks at me in the line, and it was just because I had asked for Iron Man, and she sees me really excited to have some food. She just goes, I feel like this is your birthday. Like, I feel like Cinco de Mayo is your birthday, and you just get what you want. And I go, yes?
Yeah, good job, Rap.
Thank you.
Yes is the only appropriate answer to that question.
I really didn't have anything ready in the barrel on that one. I was just like, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, let's go with it.
That's pretty good. We have a lot of things to talk about. Mm-hmm. First of all, the website's going spectacularly.
That's true, thanks to people like you. And
people
like
people. Oh, just people. Oh, I was about to compliment you back, but go fuck yourself.
It has nothing to do with you, Kevin.
What about that Ryan Gosling ad I threw up there, Raph? The journalistic gold required to.
We're just so giddy to look at Ryan Gosling just for any exorbitant amount of time, and you wanted to have a rationale behind it. Even your own headline's like, does MMA? Question mark? Who cares?
Do you like the fact that it's branded an MMA video and he really is just sitting there listening to someone talk except for the 10 seconds he's throwing a left jab?
Yes, and when you say 10 seconds, it's not even that long.
It's 2 seconds.
I'm sure you just replayed it that many times. No, it's just Ryan Gosling stares at the camera like Jim Halpert from The Office every 2 seconds, and you feel he's just short of being like, hey, girl, what are you doing there? You want to go home with me tonight? I respect your autonomy to have opinions, girl.
That's just not how I felt about that video at all.
Well, because you were masturbating to it, but that's weird.
Well, next topic. So, in addition to VerbalTapCast, you can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Twitter at VerbalTapCast. It's time to start reviewing that stuff, listening to us, and following along the fun articles and crazy memes that Raph and I are generating all over at VerbalTapCast.com.
It's true. We're putting a lot of original content up there, and a lot of what drives it is what we see people like. So if you like something, we tend to do more of those. So expect to see more ridiculous memes. Expect to see, ridiculous articles about things that we thought were funny. One thing that we saw was a guy proposed to his fiance via triangle choke. That was crazy.
That is crazy. Is that the choke you would choose if you were? Hold on, let me paint the picture.
Go for it. You're
like, it's finally time to propose to my loving, devoted girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I have to think of the different, ring size, princess cut. That's diamond speak for those in the world that are listening and don't have to worry about this problem. And then last on your list is, okay, now I need to decide on the right choke to use to propose to her. Raph, talk me through your decision process here. What's your perfect choke marriage proposal going to look like?
Actually, I was saying there was two sides of this.
Okay.
The one you don't want to go with is a Kimura.
Obviously.
Because I feel that's just mean that they don't get to see anything, But I thought the one that really spoke to me was, and this is our favorite choke, an arm triangle, because then you can just slip it on the ring finger and just go, boom, you're engaged.
And you're nice and close.
Yeah.
You're face to face with the arm. Well, you could be face to face with the arm triangle.
It's true. And the silliest part about that whole thing was the dude was like scrambling to get the ring. Like he, I guess, didn't think of the part where she would be fighting back.
Yeah.
And he has the best buddy in the world who hands him the ring. She manages to set herself up kind of in position. Like he kind of locks it in. And one viewer put it the same way I thought was, it's the perfect move because if she said no, then lights out.
If she says no, you finish that choke.
And that was the other thing. I didn't know if it's polite. Like, you know how you're supposed to get muscle memory by always finishing the choke? And if he doesn't finish the choke, I felt like somebody was going to come over. Like, I almost thought she was going to yell at him after and be like, you didn't sink it in, but yeah, I accept your marriage proposal, whatever.
Despite your shitty technique.
Right. But honestly, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I was so glad we were able to share that with people. So congratulations to the newly engaged couple.
I think I would choose Ezekiel.
You would choose an Ezekiel?
Yeah, just because, again, I want to be able to look you in the eye. I mean, under the premise that that's how I'm choosing to propose to someone. That's probably... that's tough. I don't really see... Top 5 worst. Kimura, a bow and arrow is not going to work. Yeah. The guillotine is of no help to you in this situation.
Although, the guillotine is one of those ones, again, where you just kind of go, you could slip it on the finger.
How?
Trust me, dude. If that dude was really... his friend was on the side and it had, like, helped him out and just snuck it on, that would have worked.
Yeah, I guess that's... I'm also thinking, like, the anaconda's not going to work. Bravo, no, check. You're limited in chokes that you can use and propose to someone still.
I mean, I really feel this guy sat and thought about it for a while. And I wonder if he bounced it off his training team.
That would be the best. My training team would never get through that conversation. They would just be mocking me too hard the entire time for us to come up with a reasonable position.
And like I said, on my side, it would just be like, well, I'm not going to get this move. So let's be reasonable. I'm not going to get a triangle choke because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Can I just, before we bump fists, I just go, here you go?
Oh, by the way, let's bump ring fingers.
Let's bump ring fingers. Bay, you looks like you're missing something on that ring finger. Is it this?
Speaking of bumping ring fingers, Tito Ortiz says he could have beaten John Jones in his prime.
Are you transition?
That was the best segue ever. Speaking of bumping ring fingers,
no, this is the worst transition you've ever.
The pros
had.
say that to themselves all the time. They say that to each other.
You're not a pro.
Well, that's just mean. You're just
intentionally,
trying to attack
yes.
me. I guess it's Cinco de Mayo, so I have to be nice to you today.
Cinco de Mayo birthday.
Tito Ortiz says he can beat John Jones in his prime. What do you think of that, Raph? Do you think he could have?
No, but it's fun to think that way, isn't it?
That's fair. No, you know what? First of all, I agree with you. And second of all, shockingly, I agree with you. No, I don't think he could have beaten him, but it is kind of fun to think about. I would really pay good money to see Ortiz or Chuck Liddell in their prime fight this John Jones, because I still call... Can we just get John Jones and Anderson Silva in the cage together? How hard is that?
I think that's the only thing that people are excited about now. But now Anderson Silva is, according to the sources out there on the internet, weighing, which by the way,
Dynamite
Dana White
journalism.
said that he got a phone call from Anderson Silva saying who he wants to fight next at UFC 159 in the presser. Dana's just like, yeah, I got a fucking call from fucking Anderson who said he wants to fucking fight next. And it made me think that there's a red phone that's just like Batman. That's the Anderson Silva phone that Dana White's like, is that fucking him? Bring the red phone in here.
Coming soon, the John Jones red phone.
Oh, I hope so. I think that Anderson Silva at this point is weighing GSP I guess probably because he figures he can beat him. But God, does John Jones look like an argument that would just put an interesting challenge for the first time in questionably a long time for Anderson Silva?
I don't know how we don't get that fight. I mean, from the MMA world, this is a defining characteristic where you finally, and I'll use the NBA playoffs because they're both going on and a good metaphor here. You want to see Kevin Durant versus LeBron James because you want to see the two best in the game. Arguably, they're going to be two of those high players in the annals of rankings. We've never seen two fighters this dominant. GSP has staggered, and he does not finish people. He just doesn't do that anymore. Anderson Silva and John Jones are still the same fighters now that they were when they started knocking people unconscious.
Yeah.
We've got to get them in the cage together. There's just no argument. Who is going to stop John Jones right now?
No clue. I mean, Vitor almost did.
I don't know about almost.
I mean, he messed up his arm.
That's the closest we've seen.
Yeah. I'll say this. I think that Anderson has also taken some heat from not finishing people, but I again think that's out of respect. I think him and his weird Jedi Matrix world that he lives in can end a fight when he wants to, but it's hard to argue that John Jones wouldn't have a staggering amount of weapons and artillery to be the one to bring him down.
Yeah, I feel like he would. And
I mean, just right now, it's hard to dispute that it seems to be going more John Jones's favor.
Regardless, I do feel like you're right. It's just I get hopped up when I start thinking about the fact that we can't get these guys in a cage together. Tito Ortiz, while a gifted fighter, did not see fighters quite at the caliber John Jones has been fighting, and I think Tito still won because he was a brawler in a lot of ways that just wouldn't correlate to now. Like, it's like John's a much more technical fighter than you were, Tito.
Let's think about that. Yeah, and you are leading to a good area. Not only is it impossible to have space and time realigned to make those two fight each other, or else, Tito Ortiz is maybe claiming that he could beat John Jones when he was 12. I don't really understand it, but okay, let's assume we got all things.
I'm sure Tito did not think that through far enough that you might have just given him credit for. There's no
Prove
chance.
It.
He would have never thought that through. Go ahead.
I just like the idea that if all things considered, you're looking at a fight style with Tito Ortiz that has now become a little bit outdated. Like, ground and pound is part of the game, but that was really his game. That was really the bulk of what he fought with. And for its time, it worked very well. Whereas John Jones he submitted Lyoto Machida while standing with a standing guillotine, which was insane. Vicious elbows. I mean, you're talking about Tito Ortiz in a perfect storm being able to push up John Jones against the cage. And that's, in itself, saying a lot of things would happen.
I agree. I think it's a bold claim, first of all. I mean, and what does Tito Ortiz have to lose? Who cares, right? I think he's just trying to possibly get enough attention that he might be able to drum up a I'm coming back from retirement fight because it turns out I'm not great at these other things.
Or he just saw what Chael Sonnen did and was like, oh, shit, I can get paid for this? Yes, please. I will take
I could do that.
John Jones. And, if I've learned one thing from Tito Ortiz right now, it would be, me too. I could beat John Jones. Not really at all. But, you could say whatever you want, right?
Topic of next. Well, that's a terrible way of saying next topic.
You are batting 1,000 on transitions tonight, sir.
Yeah, I'm killing it. I have some follow-up from our last show, if you don't mind indulging me, Raph.
Please do.
Cool. My buddy Rob was listening to our last show on the car, and we asked what the big moment of UFC 159 was, and after our podcast, the list of who made what came out. Here's the text message I got from my buddy. Bisping getting paid $425K to Jones $400K. WTF moment of UFC. WTF. That's the end of the text. First of all, 2 WTFs from Rob, who is a grown man. needs to be mocked. He needs to use fewer abbreviations.
First of all, I think Rob's going to beat the crap out of you, so I'm very, very happy to know how this ends, but go on.
He might. He is a brown belt, so this
Correct. Yeah, I would assume he would just walk right through you, but that's fine.
Yeah, obviously. Despite his overuse of an 8th grade girl's colloquialism, he is right. What the fuck, Raph? How is that possible? How is it possible Bisping makes more than Jones?
I'm racking my brain right now.
You're the TV expert here on this show.
Okay. Let's assume Michael Bisping has been on TV longer than John Jones. Okay, that's a good start, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say he's got a better agent who's been working more. This is really hard. I have no idea why.
It's like, how good an agent must he have to get him?
But, go ahead.
If I were John Jones, I would not be pleased reading this. Now, I don't know what his other endorsement situation looks like. I know he's obviously wearing those very prevalent Nike shorts.
So he's very well taken care of financially.
Yeah, I've heard Nike is doing pretty well in the fight world, and sports in general. They're going to be here to stay for a while. I don't understand this. I've never understood why Bisping kind of gets the draw he does, but how John Jones is not the highest paid fighter in the game to me.
Just in that card.
Especially in that card, because
that card.
Take John Jones off that card and no one is watching. No one even knows Bisping is fighting.
No. That's just such an interesting thing. I do feel that Bisping himself, though, would argue that it's completely justified.
Really? What would he say if I gave Michael Bisping the chance?
Oh, that's so weird. I don't know. I can come up with something, off the top of my head. I guess if I were, pushed up against a cage and just to think.
If someone forced you to
Raph, I guess it would probably just sound something like this. I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah. I went over there and just, I finished the fight. I didn't finish the fight. My finger finished the fight. And, I worked a whole fight. And I think I proved that night that I was the main reason people tune in. Yeah.
My finger finished the fight. Yeah, that's probably what he would say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I much credit Alan Beach, for showing up, getting poked in the eye. But, really, when you finish fights, like I do, then that's what happens. That's why you get all fun.
I still think they should now get to fight. Like, he should get to fight. Like, can we just get the Bisping-John Jones fight over with?
Do we want to see it? I guess just to see him get knocked out again. That'd be fun.
No, I just want to see John Jones beat someone up that's getting paid more than he is.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Right?
Yeah, sure, of course. But, then you're going to have Bisping come on the other side of this arrangement and go, yeah, I'm fighting for the title now. So, I mean, I think don't you? I think I should, I'm just saying, I finished fights,
If his finger is ready for another round, he could easily do that. I call it the brain tickler.
The brain tickler is so funny.
Did you happen to see that New York is trying to reject MMA for moral reasons? The article I sent you.
No, I didn't read it.
That's fine. Let me summarize.
Please.
There are those in New York that are still opposing mixed martial arts because they feel that it is a question of moral integrity. That mixed martial arts... Well, I mean, no, they're Catholic, but potato repressivo.
Can we always just mock the Amish? Because how are they ever going to respond to any of our accusations here?
They don't believe in podcasting, so I think we're safe.
Or electricity in general, so great.
I really like the idea of that, yeah. They should do an Amish podcast. I'd listen to that.
They do. It's called a campfire.
The Amish podcast. It's called a camp. Oh, God. Good stuff. That's why we get paid the big bucks. I have this to say to mixed martial arts' defense.
Okay.
In a state that is so quite dramatically emphatic of different sports like football, basketball, baseball, other physical signs of the unification for what it means to do something disciplined and camaraderie, team-based. They could not be more wrong. And if they continue this attack on mixed martial arts from a moral ground, I think they're going to find themselves genuinely in a fight they can't win.
Okay,
Mixed martial arts
teaches
teaches dedication, it teaches discipline.
That's true.
Typically qualities that are important in maintaining the type of civil society we're looking for, not detracting from it. So they can go F themselves with the people that do MMA are too hopped up on violence.
Kevin with the editorial of the podcast.
Yeah, I've also been watching some Sorkin, so I'm feeling a little.
Well, you're not there. Let's not go that. But let me read some of this because I wasn't paying attention to you at all. I was reading the article where it says, "I think the injuries are horrific. It looks like a cartoon on TV. This is not a cartoon. It's a moment of glory. It is the destruction of another human being's dignity."
Shocking.
What?
Right?
What? Oh no! I guess we shouldn't watch people lose their dignity playing football. Oh no! The NBA Finals of Losing Dignity is on, everybody. God, shut up.
Yeah. So, Raph and I are fired up. But this is a great time for us to take a quick 20 seconds and bring on our guest, Adam Cella. We will be back in 1 minute with Adam Cella.
And see who loses their dignity.
VerbalTap listeners, a big moment for us. We have from The Ultimate Fighter, very clearly Raph and I's favorite television show, Adam Cella on the line. Adam, how you doing tonight?
Good, guys. How you guys doing?
Well, it's Cinco de Mayo, so Raph is obviously in heaven. But
well, then you're muy bueno.
Oh my God! For the first time I've ever understood you. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. I took Spanish 1 a couple times in high school, so I know my way around that tree.
So, Adam, talk to us a little bit about your experience on The Ultimate Fighter. Tell us your general impressions, how it all came together, things that you loved and took away from it.
Really, starting from the beginning, it wasn't something I had planned to do. I had a guy that I trained with that, he fights at 185 as well, and he called me. He's like, "Hey, we should really try out for the show." And well, he's Brazilian, so I didn't really understand him too well. But he kind of stutters a little bit and can't really understand him. But we were talking, and I was like, I should try it. And then my girlfriend really convinced me to actually do it. So, I think like that night I might have booked a flight or whatever and printed out the application, this and that. But fast forward a little bit, they called my name for the finals at the tryouts, and I was kind of like, whoa, like why did I get picked? This and that. But
no, that's interesting to me. You didn't go in with like a big premeditated track to try and be on The Ultimate Fighter. It happened. It sounds like
no, it was
really
all
quickly.
Literally like spur of the moment thing. And then kind of getting to know some of the guys I was in there with. They, Josh. I think Josh tried out like 5 or 6 times. Zach had tried out like 4 times, something like that. And then I just kind of walked right up and just high-fived everyone and went right on.
I'm sure they love that. That's always great.
Well, I think also they like me because I just didn't really care, and I get some slack for it, but I'm the guy who really didn't need to do it. I just kind of wanted to, so I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. But no, I got picked. I got on the show, and then the fight to get in the house, I got picked with the biggest dude that was there. I mean, I fought that Jake Kuhn, and I sat next to him at the tryouts. This dude was about 250 pounds of just man meat. So, it was kind of weird seeing him cut down to 185, but then getting paired up with him was a little intimidating. But oh well, I think I did okay. So, but overall, the experience was pretty cool, and I think it's kind of a little life changing. Doing some cool things now. obviously I went to Sweden, which I never really planned on doing.
Can you talk to us a little bit about Sweden? What was it like over there, first of all? Because that event, I heard, went down crazily.
Over there was pretty cool. I had coming off the show, like obviously you're kind of being watched. You have little handlers 24/7. But when you get over there, the show itself is cool because it's so professional and everything is like so like we're picking you up at 6:30, they're there. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy like that. But as soon as I got there, we had to go in, check in, and then Gustafson walked in, and we had heard he got cut, and we kind of looked at his face, my coach and I, and we were like, we didn't see anything. We were like, well, this is kind of weird, and come to find out, we saw pictures of it, this and that, and I didn't think it was that bad, but the doctors over there went ahead and said, hey, you can't fight this and that, so whatever, but they found a good replacement in that Latifi character. I didn't know anything about him, but I was like, whatever. But the show was cool. We had 20,000 people in this big ass arena that were all booing me.
Well, to be fair, you did walk out to Hulk Hogan's Real American.
Yes, I did, and that's I like to have fun, and before I'm going back probably 7 years now. Before I had any fights, I had planned to come out to that song once, and I never did. And then I really couldn't think of a better suited moment to come out to that.
You certainly gained fans over here at Verbal Tap the moment we heard the Hulk song.
I could not tell you how proud of you I was when I heard that echoing through. And the only thing I was a little nervous about, not going to lie, was there was no ear call and response. And more importantly, I was like, the only way he can win this is via leg drop. And if he doesn't do this, I don't know what's going to happen.
See, I was expecting that more on the beginning end. I thought he was going to rip his shirt off as he climbed into the cage.
I was going to rip his shirt off, but I'm actually not strong enough to rip it off, and I forgot to pre-cut it. So I didn't want to embarrass myself and just try real hard and not do it. So
can I just say you would have made YouTube sensation, though, had you gone for it, just foolproof.
Yeah.
And can I let you in on a secret? Hogan pre-cuts those shirts. You know that, right?
Oh, well, that's what I didn't do. I tried ripping one off before, and it was pathetic, to be honest with you.
That would have punched up that Sweden card. Going back to Tough, what are some of your most memorable moments? Give us your top 2 or 3 highlights.
Really, I'd say the most memorable was something that they never showed. It was a kind of like a web extra that they never put out there, but they gave me a little GoPro camera to walk around and do my own show because I think I got a lot of FaceTime, but they didn't really show like you guys kind of said earlier. They didn't really show all the nonsense that I did, but they gave me this GoPro camera and I walked around, kind of did a cribs episode of the house with Bubba, and got down to the kitchen, and obviously everybody knows Uriah tried to kick my head off, and so I saw him sitting there. He was making a truck out of a milk cart, and I didn't. See, you guys are laughing, but we were kind of like, "What are you doing?" And I guess he was poor when he was in Jamaica, whatever it was, and that's what he used to do was make toys. Whatever. So I was like, hey, I had this camera. I was like, let's see what Uriah's doing over here. And he's like, he's a dick anyways. He's like, making a truck. I was like, and everybody got quiet. They're like, really? Because so far everybody had been real fun and outgoing. And I was like, well, where did you learn to do that? And he's like, back home. Real mean, just whatever. So I look at the camera. And I'm like, for 10 cents a day, you too can help a starving child. And Zach Cummings, I think, about did backflips in the kitchen. And Luke was going crazy, and everyone was laughing hysterically, except for Uriah.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like he's got the best sense of humor about these things.
No. He to be honest with you, he's not I don't want to say he's like an idiot, but he doesn't think like normal people, and he doesn't get like a normal person's sense of humor. But it's funny because it was after I already fought him. It was after Bubba fought him, and I put the camera down. He comes in, and I go back in the kitchen. He's like, "If you do that again, trying to be respectful." And I just literally turned around and walked away as he's talking to me. The most disrespectful thing you could probably do at that moment. And I was like, just shut the up, Jesus.
Oh
like, I'm
God.
just over it, dude. Like, so that was probably one of my most memorable moments. Another thing that they never showed was Big Tough Josh the Man getting scared by a spider. And it's one of those things where I need to be in front of you to show you what he did, but he was standing on Jamal's bed in nothing but a pair of underwear because there was a big spider. And it was like, when I say big, it was like the size of a quarter. I mean, it wasn't huge, but it wasn't little. And he hit it with a shoe and missed. And then he screamed like a little girl and jumped off the bed. And I mean, you guys know Josh. He's like 6'3", 6'4".
He's a huge person.
Josh is enormous, and he's like, oh my God, and I'm like, what? Like, Dylan and I just stopped, and we just like stared at him for a second, and you know, that was a few cool things that you guys probably never would ever know about.
And let me tell you, we're better off knowing it now than we were 5 minutes ago when we didn't know any of this happened. This sounds hilarious.
I'm pretty pleased. Yeah, Raph and I keep getting super pissed because we think they cut out all the parts of the show we really love. We had Mike Jasper on last week telling us about like the interviews and the decision-making process that you had to initially go through just to get in the house. And now we keep hearing all this like these behind the scenes, and we need to have a conversation with the production team over at FX.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff they show, a lot of stuff they don't show, but a lot of stuff that you'll never see is because they don't have cameras like in your face 24/7. Basically, like there's cameras everywhere, but there's not a camera crew. Excuse me. So when you start talking about something or something interesting is going down, they run up and they get it. A lot of the stuff they missed because something else was going on or this or that. You know, so they had cameras, but they weren't necessarily recording all the time.
That makes sense. I mean, the thing that was disappointing for us was we heard all of these stories about how you were the funniest cast member that we just didn't know. And we see parts of it. Like when you were doing the Uriah kick, I think I fell out of my own chair laughing.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit of it. One thing that I do is like there's stereotypes out there, and you know, typically, like, and this is what every white person says: is, "Oh, I've got a lot of black friends," and I really do. So, and I wouldn't say anything behind their back that I wouldn't say to their face. And Clint and I actually became pretty good friends, and everybody who sees Clint is like scared of him. He's huge, muscular, and just looks like he's gonna kill you. But he's standing next to me, and I'm like, man, Clint, I'm like, I feel bad for you. He's like, why? And I was like, well, because I got to leave. He's like, you know, what's going on? I was like, I can't stand next to you too long because my credit score goes down and yours goes up. And I was like, it's like osmosis or something. And he's like, man, what's she talking about? But then he said something like, my shit's like a 500. And I'm like, I don't even know if it goes that low, bro. Like, so.
Now, you're touching on something that I've heard only rumor of, but I want to see if it's true.
Yeah.
I've heard rumor that you do impressions of other cast members on the show. True or false?
Yes and no. I don't do all of them, but you know, when you imitate Clint, basically you just can't open your mouth too much, and you just kind of got to mumble words because that's what he does. And he's just like, he calls himself Headbuster. And there's one time we were driving to practice, and there was obviously a lot of casinos, and it said win like $1 million pennies or something like that. He's like, oh man, you can win like $1 million pennies. Man, that's tight. That's like $1,000. I'm like, huh? And then Josh corrects everyone. He's like, yo, Headbuster, like, do your math, man. And he said, Click goes, that's Headbuster math, homie. So, like, he was totally wrong, and we all just started laughing about that. But, you know, a couple other guys, like King, Kevin Casey, when you see him, every time you see him, he acts all hard. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm not intimidated by him or anyone, really.
He
So
does rap.
like,
So when you rap, you have to act hard. No one ever likes a rapper that just goes halfway.
That's not rapping. He talks fast. That's what he does. He just talks fast. That's not. I've heard I haven't seen the video on YouTube, but apparently it's horrible. But
yeah,
I will say, like, he turned out to be one of the most liked guys in the house, surprisingly. But like, every time you see him, he always looks like he's standing all hard, like he's like holding like luggage. You know what I mean? But the luggage isn't there. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Feel like his arms are all puffed out. He's a big dude. But you know, I go to him like, I'm like, what's up, cuz? And he's like, yo, what you mean, cuz? We ain't related. I'm like, huh? Like, I was kind of joking. And he just, that's how he gets into it. He just talks all monotone, but like very direct with his speech and pronounces every syllable. It's like, you know, my name is King. It's not the King, it is King. I'm trying to promote a brand here. You know what I'm saying? And then he goes into some 10-minute spiel of bullshit that I don't really know what he's talking about. And I'm like, all right, good talk, gotta go. Like, see you, bro.
The reason why I ask here is because I don't know if you've listened to the show. You should if you haven't. My job on the show is to replicate voices. And I've done multiple people on the show. And Bubba McDaniel had indicated to us that you do a good impression of him. I'm curious, do you do that impression? And if so, can you share it with us?
Yeah, basically with Bubba, you just got to be a dumb redneck. And like, and they actually showed it a little bit. I think it was either on a Web Extra or like one of the last episodes. But he's like, him and I are sitting up on the balcony, and he actually became one of my real good friends. And he's like, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna win yet. I don't want to count my ducks before the chickens hatch in the basket with them. And I'm like, what did you say? I stopped him. I'm like, have you ever actually heard that saying? He's like, what you mean? I'm like, you're over there saying I'm gonna put my ducks in a row with the baskets because the chickens are clucking, and I don't want them to get over there. And then and he just starts laughing because I'm lost, he's lost. We have no idea what he's trying to say. And a couple other times, like, I think we said something like, man, Bubba, I think you're queer. And he's like, I ain't no queer. I ain't no gay. I ain't got no problem with no gays, but I ain't no gay. And that became a quote of the season.
Hard to believe FX cut that one out. Let's
Yeah, well, I think on the real touchy subjects they went ahead and left him out.
That seems about right. But he spoke very well of your impression. And I just have to wonder, you know, he celebrated a major birthday this weekend, right?
Yeah. I told him happy birthday. I think he turned 30 or something like that, which we actually all thought he was older than that. So we were like, ooh, you're not aging well, bro.
Now, if you, given your impression prowess, how do you think Bubba would have sounded during his 30th birthday?
I think he would have been pretty much like a typical redneck. He'd been like, hey, y'all, where's my natural light? I need to get toe up from the flow up. Basically, I'm going to get hammered and do Bubba stuff. I'm the menace. And that's actually one time we always talk like he talks in the third person. We're like, basically, this is Josh and I really. We're always like, you want the menace to come down there? You need to pay for the menace to get on an aeroplane. And stuff like that, because before Bubba's fight with I think it was with King, the power had gone out at the gym, and they weren't going to allow us to go cut weight because we couldn't, you know. And we were going to go with Bubba this and that because he had a hard time making weight, and the producer calls the little phone in there, and they're like, yeah, we're delaying it another half an hour. And he's like, y'all go get me to cut later. I ain't gonna fight. You want me on your show? I ain't gonna do it. Like, and Josh and I are sitting there, and then after he makes weight and weighs in, and we're like, you want the minutes on your show? You get me a goddamn sauna. And
he does get admittedly cranky during weight cutting time, so I can only imagine that's a really good time to get Bubba-isms.
Well, the thing with Bubba is, and he was, I would say he's probably the biggest guy on the show. He walks around probably roughly 220, something like that. But the whole 7 weeks, or I'd say like 5 weeks up until his last fight, he was walking around maybe like 205. So he was constantly 15, 20 pounds under his normal walk-around weight. And, I saw him at I talked to him a little bit before the finale, before he's going to cut weight. And he went with John Wood, who actually is now my coach. I don't know if you guys saw him on the show. But he went with John Wood and cut some weight. And I asked John, I'm like, how'd Bubba do? I know he's kind of a bitch when he cuts weight, whatever. And he said Bubba shed off the pounds like it was nothing. He's like, man, I'm fine. I'm good to go. So I think the weight cut actually had a big thing to do with Bubba's attitude.
Well, I'm saying this right here, right now. If things don't work out in the fight realm for the both of you, I would love to make you guys into a buddy cop film.
Well, I'm actually open for anything because the UFC actually let me go after that Sweden fight. So I'm kind of, I'm not unemployed, but you know what I mean.
We understand that, but so did you leave on good terms with them? How did that process go about?
Yeah, pretty much. Joe Silva said, and I understand his reasoning. He's like, I would not sign a guy who's 4-1 coming off of a loss. He's like, if you were 5-0 with like 5 top-level wins, and they're, like, impressive wins, he's like, we would have you. He said, but I want you to go get about 3 or 4 wins at 170, because I shouldn't compete at that level at 185. I'm just too small. But he said, go get 3 or 4 wins. He's like, and I got a fight ready for you. And it will not be against a D1 wrestler or anything like that, like no superstar grapplers. Because, his thing was he's like, we like you. And we like your attitude. You go out there and you go forward. You're not scared of anyone. So I think I left on good terms, and I'll be back.
And we're definitely curious what's next. And obviously you're pretty young with, it sounds like the UFC won't be a problem for you to re-enter. How'd you get started in MMA? Just give us the 2-minute version on how it started for you.
Really, the quick version is I started doing kickboxing about 7 years ago. And I did about 70, 75 amateur fights, including a little bit of boxing in there, Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, kickboxing and then some boxing, Golden Glove stuff. And then, like our shows that we have here locally that I fight on just kind of started doing MMA, and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I'll give it a shot. And I had never wrestled, grappled, anything like that. So I took some MMA fights and actually won like my first 6 or 7 or something like that, a couple submissions as well. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And, and then a little over a year ago, I was like, everybody I had fought, I beat in the first round. And I'm not saying I fought top-level guys, but, I'm fighting guys who are coming there to fight. One guy was out of Kansas City with, I think 37 pro fights, something like that, with a little bit better than a 500 record, but still a tough dude. And, supposed to be a high-level grappler, and I stopped him quick. And I was like, all right, well, I need to step up. I need to do something. So I don't know, I just kind of fell into it, really, from kickboxing. Just was good at that, and then whatever.
Sure. And I think kickboxing is a good start. Do you train a lot of jiu-jitsu then?
Yes and no. I don't do, like a D class. I really don't feel like I don't fight in a gi. So therefore, I don't think it really helps me. I think there's a misconception. Everybody says gi is going to help your no gi, and I just believe it's just because you get more mat time. I don't think it has anything to do with I don't do gi chokes. I don't do sweeps where I'm grabbing your belt. You know what I mean? That stuff I don't do. And I do a lot of wrestling. I think I work a 40-plus hour a week job back home, along with training 3 times a day. It's not easy. So I don't really have time to just take jiu-jitsu class after jiu-jitsu class. So my training is geared more towards wrestling, and it's really actually coming along quite well.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Okay, a lot of wrestling. That's good to know. Well, I also work a 40-hour week, so does Raph, so we understand. It's not easy to get our podcasting lessons in during the weeknights. Yeah. What's next for you? Where's the next fight?
Right now I have a fight tentatively set for June 15th back here in St. Louis with Shamrock FC, which is the promotion that I basically had most of my pro fights under.
What is Shamrock FC?
It's just a local fight promotion that they it's essentially it's like my manager and coach, him and a couple buddies, started a promotion company, and they took it to like a professional level now. And really, it's the nicest show that I've been to. I'm not just saying that because I'm on it, but it's probably the nicest show I've been to at this level. I mean, obviously, if you go to something like an XFC or an CFA or RFA or something like that, it's going to be super, super nice, but nothing compared to the UFC. I mean, like I said, that show is it's just ridiculous. But I'm supposed to be fighting June 15th. I'm not sure who yet, but it's going to be my first time going down to welterweight, so it's going to be a test with the weight cut and everything like that. So I should.
Very cool. Tell us a little bit about your opponent.
I don't know if the guy has actually signed the contract or anything yet. I haven't even signed it yet, but the guy, I don't even know his name, to be honest with you, but he is supposed to be kind of a brawler with pretty good wrestling, but kind of the word is that I'll be able to just keep it standing and pick him apart and kind of get back in my groove of how I fight. When I went out to Sweden, I actually started doing a little bit of kickboxing with the guy. And surprisingly, I was actually landing stuff easier than I thought. So that gave me a whole lot of confidence. But he timed a good takedown or whatever. So I don't know. This fight's gonna get me back to my roots. I think of just what I call chuckle-a-delling people. Put them against the cage and just stay like at the end of your punches and just beat the shit out of someone.
Sure. How much weight do you have to lose to get down to middleweight?
I'm about 25 away now. Which I usually walk like this last for Sweden. I cut 4 pounds, and I was I was 184. So and John, he looked at me. We got done cutting the weight. We did it in the bath this time, and he's like, "That was a weight cut?" I'm like, "Sure was," because that morning I was eating breakfast, and he's not used to that,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get down to about 185, just walking around, probably like the week of weigh-ins. And then kind of slowly meter down for 3 days to get down to about 175, 178, somewhere in there. And then just split out the rest.
And Raph told me this rumor, and we've got to confirm. Is it also true that while on The Ultimate Fighter, you might have submitted John Jones with a guillotine?
That is not a rumor. That is a fact that is on camera. And actually, a little story with that. John, yeah, if you go to like the web extras on their website, I think it's all there.
Raph does pretty habitually.
But no, John, we got done training. I think it was one of our morning practices, and he didn't really spar a lot because he just gotten off that fight with Vitor, and his elbow was still a little messed up. But we did grapple a lot, and I mean, you just saw what he did with Chael. He out-wrestled Chael, which was kind of weird. But I was taking off my my wraps or whatever, and he came up and threw down like it looked like probably like $2,500, $3,000, and said, "Let's go, winner takes all." And I'm like, why not? I don't have any money.
Right.
I'm not gonna give him anything. It's John Jones. So we go out there, and they actually cut it down to where it's only like a minute long clip, but we were going for like 5, 6, 7 minutes, and he came in for a takedown, and for some reason just stuck his neck out, and like my arm. It was like the stars must have aligned because my hand went perfectly under his neck, and it looked really, really slow. But I was like, when I was doing it, I was like, holy shit! I was like, I think I got this. And I was like, is he really going? Because I don't want to like I don't want to get beat up tomorrow. Like, this is gonna suck. But he was trying to get out of it, like trying pretty hard, and I was like, no way, Jose, like you're toast. And then he tried rolling me or whatever, and I kept it locked on, and he ended up tapping it, and it was pretty cool. And then I saw him at the finale. No, actually, I met him at dinner the night after on that Sunday, and he's like, "You tapped me out on national TV, you son of a bitch." I'm like, well, "What do you?" I'm like, "I didn't put the cameras there." I'm like, "And you shouldn't have been off more than you can chew, pal." But
here's the thing.
no, John was. Yep.
I saw a web commenter, and this is, again, we try and police the internet, but one thing I saw was somebody who said, if you practice jiu-jitsu, you know that John Jones let him tap him out. What is your response to that?
I've had a lot of people talk a lot of trash, but like, John can let me tap him out, but I mean, I'm telling you he didn't. He'll tell you he didn't. I will admit that I got very lucky, just due to the fact that I rolled with him a dozen times after that, and it was not fun at all. But my comment back is just like, I guess a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just. I got lucky, but I got it. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, here's my take from it. When I saw that comment, I just looked at it and I go, well, okay, first of all, who says things like, if you know jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Let's take a moment, everybody. I'm going to speak how jiu-jitsu works real quick. And second of all, if you learned anything about John Jones during that process, it was that homeboy hates losing.
Yeah, he doesn't just hate losing important things. He hates losing everything.
Yes, he
I'm
does.
not good at bowling. Oh, I hate losing it.
Oh, John, he's a sore loser, and I think after the bowling thing, they showed him kind of run off like a little bit, like his hands down, flailing at the ground. He probably did that a dozen times when he lost something.
Because when I saw him do that, everybody, I forget, it might have been Kelvin who yelled out, Forrest Griffin, alluding to him running out of the cage, and I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah. No, that's what John does. It's like his little walk of shame. But, no, he hates losing, and even when we were just messing around, like sparring and stuff like that, like, if something would come in and get close to him, he was like, all right, and he would make sure I knew he was the best in the world at anything when it comes to MMA, because athletically, he's not athletic. He can't throw a football to save his life, which is weird because his brothers are studs.
Yeah, I mean, talk us through a little bit about your interpretation of UFC 159. We've never really, I heard you talk a little bit about Chael. Can you talk to us a little bit about him and what you thought of the fight and the way it all came together?
Chael, it's kind of weird. Chael talks his way into fights, obviously, and he's very good at it, and he's a good fighter. It's not like he's a nobody, but I actually trained with Chael the Thursday before the finale, and I was watching him. I was like, oh no, this is not going to be good for him, because he's super nice. And when I was on the show, he pulled me to the side, and there was no cameras around, no one was around. I'm going to go with microphones on, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I just want you to know. He's like, you're going to be good. He's like, I've talked to John about it, talked to Dana. He's like, you're going to be set in this company for a little bit. He's like, you've got a lot of heart, and we've heard nothing but good things about you. So just keep it up. And, and he didn't need to do that, and he wasn't even my coach. So I was like, that's pretty cool. But as far as the fight itself went, I just sent John a message about it and talked to him a little bit. I was like, I knew you're a good wrestler, but I didn't expect you to go out and out-wrestle Chael Sonnen like you did. He went in and shot a couple takedowns instantly.
He just kind of, he manhandled him in every sense of the word.
Yeah. Well, Chael's a big dude, and, John, like you said, manhandled him, so it was a little surprising, even sitting back and watching the training with both the guys before I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, I still wasn't. When you looked at them side by side, it was just like, this does not look like it's going to go well.
Well, no, Chael's a thick dude, and it's kind of funny if you watch the season. If you just check it out when we have the fight off to get in, and then if you watch the last fight, with Dylan and Uriah or whatever, Chael actually slimmed up and like kind of beefed up and like kind of got in shape. He got in shape. I know he worked out with them every day when they were there, but when I first met him, I was like, damn, dude, I was like, wow, you're an 85er? I'm like, this is my last shot at 85. I'm done with this. You guys are huge.
So, where can people find you now, Adam? Where can they can find you on Twitter, and where can they see you at the next fight?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, Adam Cella MMA. Obviously, just find me on Facebook. Just type in my name, I'll pop up. But June 15th at River City Casino here in St. Louis should be the next fight. I got a couple other things in the works. As soon as they become official, I'll let everyone know. So.
River City's beautiful too. I'm from Kansas City. I've actually seen a few fights over there.
Yeah. It's gonna be a big show. They just built a new venue. Like I think it's gonna hold like 2,500 people, something like that. And it's actually the promotion's 15th anniversary. So they're trying to stack the card with, like I said, I fought on it a lot. They're trying to stack the card with guys who kind of brought the show up, and it's kind of cool. The guy who actually got me into the gym doing kickboxing and anything, his name's Mike Green here in St. Louis. He's actually going to make his pro debut. He's like close to 40 years old, and he really just wants to. Probably had 60, 70 amateur fights, and he's going to fight on the card too, and it's just kind of cool because I was always his undercard, and now the roles have been reversed.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool, man. Now, we definitely want to thank you for being on the show. We've been looking forward to talk to you, especially with the fact that at the very beginning of our interactions, we were making fun of your face.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I think I said you guys. There's 10,000 pictures of me looking extremely beautiful, and you guys find the one. You guys find the one picture where I look like I got caught eating a turd. Like
there was. Raph and I kept joking about the fact that whoever was doing the camera work, I don't know how you guys did that. We called it the Nike cam, but that like close-up cam that's in super HD. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The talking head cam.
Yeah, the talking head cam. You were You were leading time at that the entire show. Those just one-on-ones where you guys were just commenting about the show.
Oh, the confessional thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing where it makes everybody except for me look bad.
Yeah, they really, your eyes, Raph and I were just like, are they messing with the color on this? Like,
dude, no, that's all me. You can thank my mama for that. But it's kind of cool. Like, no, as soon as I saw like the first one, I was like, damn. I was like, are my eyes that blue? And I was like, I guess they really are. I went and looked at them. I was like, well, I guess in the right light they are. But no, it made me look good, and I can even say the chicks are all. That's probably the most comments they got was like those baby blues, blah, 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 this and that. And I'm like, well, whatever. Like,
so I think what we're saying is you got a good run because the baby blues got some nice screen time.
Yeah.
So yes,
that's what's shocking.
We might have found one that we were just like, this is the funniest photo. That has like nothing really to do with you per se. Like you can tell you feel shocked by the moment, but Kevin and I are beside ourselves. It's like I sent him this photo and I was like, "This is the best photo of Cella by far."
Yeah, well, that photo, like, what it was I think Bubba had just lost and he was crying, and like, I've never cried after a fight, and I don't understand why. Like, if people cry, I'm not gonna make fun of them for crying. Whatever, you do your thing. But, like, dude, if you go out there and you give it 100%, what are you crying for? You know what I mean? Like, does it hurt? Like, do you need your mama to kiss your cheek or something? Like, you go out there, you just did something that was, like, really, really cool. Win or lose, like, why are you crying? Don't be, you can be sad you lost, but whatever, man. Like, it's cool.
Look, Adam, I don't want you to say any more about that because I think we both know what Bubba will do when he hears you talking about that.
Yeah, he'll send me a message and be like, that's so cool! You're the greatest! Because Bubba, me and Bubba, he's kind of like a big brother, in a sense. because like I got to know him, and I kind of look up to some of the crap he's been through, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he he's been dealt a shitty hand, but that dude's been dealt a pretty bad hand. Just something's happened to him, this and that, and he's coming out of a hole. And I think I even said it on the show. He's one guy that deserves a contract. He's put in the time, and in the gym, nobody worked harder than him. So I think, hopefully Bubba will go far. But yeah, I don't care if he hears whatever I have to say. I'll tell it to his face.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. I just like the idea that he says nothing but compliments. He's like, no, thing you don't understand about this Cella kid, I'll use my shitty Bubba, which is, the thing you don't understand about Adam is, all the girls look at him and they're like, he looks pretty good, but he can fight. Verbatim, what he told us.
Verbatim.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, it's no, it's a compliment coming from him, but no, I pride myself on keeping it real, and Bubba cries more than anyone I've ever met. So, and he'll tell you that he's a crier.
He's mentioned it on here, but no, we love that. Now, I do have a request for you when you fight the next time, okay?
Yeah.
Just hearing you talk about the fact that you had a video camera on you and that they cut it on the Ultimate Fighter. Kevin and I have just started a website. If you film something for your next fight going into it, we will happily put it on our website uncut.
Okay, you're talking like almost like a video blog?
Whatever video blog, whatever you want to do, something that you think is kind of light, funny, silly. That's kind of our brand.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually started doing one. My girlfriend has a super nice little GoPro camera, and I got a couple sparring sessions here and there, and then I just got really busy, and then I forgot about it. But yeah, I'll do it, and I'll let you guys know what's going on with it for sure.
Beautiful. Do that and send it to us. And send us a link first for the ones that you're doing right now. But as you get into fight week, send it to us. And then after you do your fight, you're more than welcome to come on here because we love talking with you and we'd love to hear all about it.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night, man.
See you guys.
Interview with Adam Cella brought to you by BJJ Finder, the world's premier Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym locator and site collection. You can find places to train anywhere in the United States and around the world, so check it out, BJJ Finder. And welcome back to the part of the show where Raph and I now talk about the guest. Adam Cella, what are your impressions, Raph?
Super nice. Always funny. I like when we can really see more of the fighters' personalities and in a little more context.
Sure.
And we've heard so many good things about him being a funny guy, and I think he proved every one of those things. So completely glad we had him on. Hold on. We had him on the show. And breaking news, Adam Cella just tweeted at us and said, just finish a podcast with VerbalTapCast. Awesome guys and fun show. Sorry at Bubba the Menace. Obviously, he's referring to the stories that he was talking about. Bubba,
and the impressions, probably.
Maybe. But
maybe.
They're all in good fun. And I think Bubba, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Is he going to cry about it?
As we've determined, maybe. But no, I feel like Bubba's got tougher skin. You'd think fighters would have a little bit, they would be more immune to being mocked just because it's like you voluntarily fight people that are trying to choke you unconscious or knock you out with their fists.
Yes.
So it would seem to me that jokes at their expense, it's like, who cares?
Oh, they can give a shit what we have to say. Well, like, we're the least of their problems.
Oh, good times. No, it was a fun interview. He is funny, and it sounds like he's just got a cool take on the MMA story. It's not, and obviously you love the guys that have just lived and breathed it since they were 10, and they dropped out of things to make it happen as a dream. And Adam Cella is just like, yeah, it's something I just started doing, and it works great. Really,
I had a
it's fun
friend
to hear
who
those
just told me
stories.
to come around, and now I'm a fighter, I guess. No
Yeah,
big
someone
deal.
said the UFC was looking for people for this thing. It was like a show, I guess, and I just walked in. It's like, yep,
Yeah.
nice.
Just imagine either of you or I walking and going, yeah, we'll try out. Let's see what happens. Oh, we're out. That was quick. Yeah.
Let's do this. When's the podcasting competition? Do we do the public speaking portion of this fight training after or during grappling? When's the...
Oh, I have to get hit in the face?
Well, why?
Really? Ooh. How about I just do some jokes?
Yeah, getting hit seems so real. It is part of the show time. Wow, getting those words in order.
The worst host ever today.
I was killing it, and then you questioned my let's bump ring fingers, and now I just gone off the rails.
Falling apart at the seams, my friend.
Some people asked us some questions on Twitter, and we love it when they do that.
Yes.
First of all,
actually, I'm gonna ask this one to you, Kevin, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Go for it.
This one comes from Steven Richards, who asked, do you think there are even any top 205 fighters that Chael Sonnen can actually beat? Apart from fighting those like Wandy or Vitor that are similar, I feel that basically says and seals his chance at ever reaching contention again anywhere. What are your thoughts, Kevin?
My response. First, I completely agree with Steven here that staying completely destroys his chance of contention. At least if his goal is to win a title. He's not going to do it at 205. And I've been racking my brain about other fighters in the 205, and I'll throw a few fights at you. And
Okay,
hopefully
please do.
Steven will let us know on Twitter if he agrees or not. I think it would be a next great barometer if this is even a weight class that he should think about staying at. He should fight the Dragon, Lyoto Machida.
Okay.
You've got a skilled ground and pounder we think that might be able to fight at 205, though we have no proof or evidence of it yet. Versus Lyoto, who we know is in this in-between phase, really doesn't deserve a title shot, but does need to fight someone.
I think Lyoto is about to fight Alexander Gustafsson.
Oh, is that the new replacement for the way this keeps getting delayed?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is the winner of that gets a title shot.
That's awesome news, because I think it's going to be Gustafsson.
It'd be interesting. It'd be really cool to see how that works.
Okay, so this plays out perfectly. Gustafsson beats Machida, gets the title shot, opening for them, John Jones versus Machida. Or, I'm sorry, John Jones versus Gustafsson is Sonnen versus Machida.
I could see that fight. I actually think, in some way, stylistically, that would be similar to Machida versus
Dan Henderson.
Ryan Bader. But sure, Dan Henderson's not a bad comparison either.
Yeah. Ryan Bader's just not very good, though. He never wins.
Well, is my metaphor apt here?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I agree.
What I'm saying is, I just think stylistically, a guy who's known for his wrestling, hands are meh. Because at least with Hendo, you know he knocks people out.
True.
So, I think you got that going.
Okay, so I guess the short answer is we just came up with 3 or 4 people we'd love to see him fight, but I don't feel like Chael Sonnen, and feel free to chime in here now. I don't feel like he's got a career 205.
And we didn't answer this question on Twitter because we wanted to answer it on the actual podcast. But I thought one thing that's really fascinating about where he is right now for Chael Sonnen is I feel like he's at that moment when Randy Couture lost the title and he was 42. Like, they're just fun fights now. I don't know that he's necessarily in title contention, even if he still believes he can be. I'm not convinced he thinks that yet, but I feel that's the reason he's going to try and stick in there. But for fan purposes, it was just like, who was the person who said, yeah, let's have Randy Couture fight Brock Lesnar? It's just like, fights that are insane for the sake of saying, well, why not? And I think that's what they're at with Chael. But that doesn't make it any less fun. It just may not have the most meaning.
Sure.
Am I wrong here?
No, I think you're right.
All right.
That does it for Twitter questions we wanted to catch on the air. So people listening, tweet in some questions before shows. Raph is always really good about telling you right when we're about to put one on the air. And it's a really good time to slide those questions in and make it into the show. We love hearing from people, which is why we also want you to get on VerbalTapCast. Let us know the stories you like, you don't like, what you like about them. Comment. Leave us reviews on iTunes. Give us those star reviews. Let us know what's going on so we can ultimately make a better, probably funnier, no proof of funnier product for you as things continue.
I like the fine print.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm like a Levitra ad. I like to give people all the side effects. It's time for our favorite part of the show, shout-outs. I'm going to start by shouting out to Tyler Wynn and my friend Rachel Marshall because they both tuned me onto, well, Rachel said, hey, you should show this Ryan Gosling thing on the website. It's like, you know what? Yes, we should, because he's pretty and he's thinking about MMA in this one particular small YouTube video. And then Tyler Wynn went ahead and posted it up on his site. So we always appreciate the shots back and forth. So thank you to both of them. Thank you to BJJ. Oh, go ahead.
I appreciate your effort to try and say that they're the ones who tuned you on to Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, did you like how I did that?
Something. Yeah. You're trying to put it on them, but let's
oh, definitively.
You are Team Gosling because they definitely, for whatever reason, favorited our article on him, which I believe is really you in disguise. All I'm saying.
Okay, well, fair, and I do love Gosling, so I'm gonna I'll give you this round, Raph.
Thank you. Continue.
BJJ MMA Academy, No Concept Jiu-Jitsu out there in Maryland. Thank you to both of them. That does it for me.
I've got a few, so let me burn through these very quickly. Jiu-Jitsu Journal and David Figueroa. Very cool website about training jiu-jitsu. This is one guy's experience. Just really cool written. He breaks it down on his website. He has different categories of different moves that he has links to that'll show you like different, guard sweeps and all that sort of stuff. I thought it was a really interesting and well done blog. So we wanted to shout him out. He is very nice and whatever. Also to You Judge. This is a Twitter. It's called You Judge LA, and their basic concept is when judges for UFC events ruin the scores, you can get on this Twitter to get on there and score the card. So it's like a fan scorecard Twitter, and I think they're extending it to like have it during live events so that other people can come in. It creates like a weighted average. I'm not exactly sure myself. We'd love to have them explain it more to us, but it's a crowd judging concept.
All right, we can keep going. Yeah, it's cool. You decide. It's what was the name of the cast again?
Their Twitter handle is YouJudgeLA.
You Judge LA. Very cool.
Although, just being from Los Angeles, it sounds like that could be used for anything. That's really weird. But best of luck to them. Who knew Cage Potato? Who knew we are?
I've heard of Cage Potato. I read articles on that website all the time.
They're great. They're exactly the kind of slacker journalists that we specialize in.
Hell
so
yeah.
We thank them for being in touch with us. A big shout out to August Benassi and to Melissa Benassi, who last week was so great in helping us to get Mike Jasper on the show. It always works out great when you have a friend of a friend say, we want to help out the podcast, and we hope you guys know how much that means to us. So to August, Raven, and Melissa, we hope you're having a delightful evening or day if you're listening to this in the day. Thank you.
Yeah, and we really enjoyed talking to Mike Jasper, so that's really helpful.
And hopefully we will have him back in a couple months after he wins. Also to Valley Martial Arts Center.
VMAC!
You did not hold anything back on that one, my friend. We will be at Valley Martial Arts holding a tournament on, I believe it's June 15th. And it's a Saturday in June 15th. It's going to be like a $30 entry. It's for white and blue belts. We're very excited. Love to give them publicity. If you are in the area, get in contact with Valley Martial Arts Center. You can check out their website at valleymac.com. Get a nice amount of people coming to come out and participate with that. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Does that do it for your shout-outs?
I'd like to thank Kevin
and God. That will do it for all of us here at VerbalTapCast. Visit the website, download us on iTunes, just come check us out over on Twitter and talk to us. Big thanks to Adam Cella for swinging by the podcast and hanging out with us for
Adam.
a few. Tons of fun. And thank you to all of you out there listening. I am Kevin Phillips. Thanks for listening.
Have a great night, you guys. Good night and good fight.